Where this story starts is neither here nor there, because it starts on a road between the town and the village. And in the middle of the road, there is a heap, a small pile of fur and bones. It's market day. People are going to and fro with their wares, and some of them see that small pile of bones and fur, but no one wants to look. A few people, the curious ones, take a step closer. What is that? Oh, it's a dog. Their faces betray their disgust and they hurry by. But one woman takes a step closer. And maybe it's a trick of the light, but she could swear that she sees movement in that pile. She smiles. That dog is not quite dead. But it is not quite alive either, so she takes off her jacket and gently picks it up. She takes it home and warms him by the fire, gently rubbing his fur until he wakes up. She washes him and she feeds him, and she falls asleep that night with his grateful head tucked into her chest. She calls him Gelert, and he grows. And he grows and 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 turns out to be an Irish wolfhound. He is rambunctious, to say the least. He follows the woman around like a huge shaggy shadow. But Gelert is curious about the world. He watches the people in the village, especially the children. He cocks his head to one side, tries to figure them out. And what he really wants to do is chase them. It's his favourite thing. But he is so big and so boisterous that some of the kids get scared. He is twice their size after all. So the woman teaches him to be gentle and not to chase them, to be kind. And Gelert, ever faithful, does what she asks. A few years later, there is another heap on that road that is neither here nor there. A heap of rags and, well, people see it, but no one wants to look. A few, the curious ones, take a step closer. What is that? Oh, the poor thing. But the woman takes a step closer still. And maybe it's a trick of the light, but she could swear that she sees movement. And she smiles. That baby is not quite dead. So she wraps the tiny baby in her jacket, takes her home, warms her by the fire, bathes her, feeds her, and falls asleep that night with the baby on her chest and the dog at her feet. She calls the baby Sute, and Sute grows and learns to laugh. And Gelert is very curious about this new one, this small one. He sniffs and paws at her, trying to figure out what she is. But the woman is worried because Gelert is so big and so boisterous, he could hurt her so easily without even meaning to. So the woman teaches Gelert to be gentle with Sute, and Gelert, ever faithful, does what she asks. The woman falls asleep at night with her little foundling family, dreaming of the future they will have together and the love that they will bring her. But that year, the winter is harsh. Food is scarce. All three of them are hungry. Sute cries herself to sleep most nights, and Gelert looks at the woman with hunger and desperation in his eyes. So every day the woman goes hunting to try and find food for them. But this morning, Gelert is nowhere to be found. A bit odd. Never mind, she thinks, it's time to go. And she gets home late that evening, but the day has been a good one. She catches 3 rabbits, enough to feed her family and plenty to share. And she gets home into the village, and she sees Gelert coming towards her up the path. She smiles. Ah, Gelert. But then she takes a step closer, and she sees that there's something around his mouth. She takes a step closer still. What is that? Oh, blood. She goes into her house. The door opens with a creak. On the floor, on the walls, around the cradle, blood, and no sign of Sute. Gelert sits in the doorway and cocks his head. He's trying to work her out. There's a strange look about her. She's gone all stiff. He barks at her. That doesn't help. He goes over to her. That's better. She's rubbing his head. She's looking outside the door at the children playing in the street. Such a strange look on her face. And it's the last thing that Gelert sees before a flash of metal and then black. The woman kisses Gelert's head. She feels guilty, but her heart was already broken twice that day. She couldn't bear it if Gelert broke someone else's. But then, maybe it's just what she wanted to hear, but she could swear she heard a cry coming from outside. She goes out to the back of her house, just where her garden meets the forest, and behind the trees, relief washes over her, Sute, unhurt, and next to her, a wolf, dead, covered in blood. They say that the woman never forgave herself. She buried Gelert under a tall tree. And over the years, the name of the village was forgotten and people just called it Bed Gelert, Gelert's grave. And though Sute grew up and lived a long and happy life, loved by her mother, our woman, they say, never smiled again.